everyone. Welcome to the webinar today, The Secrets to Social Media for Real Estate, with MAPS coach, Carlos Gil. Today, this webinar is being recorded. Please type your questions into the questions box located in the webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions, you can email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's FASTTRACK@kw.com. And that's all for me. So, Carlos, you can go ahead and get started.
Thank you, Paige. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we'll just need to start the slideshow. It's in presenter mode.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Carlos Gil. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's webinar. I'm really excited to be here for the next 30 minutes or so. As Paige mentioned, we will have time for Q&A at the end. So today I'm going to talk to you about the secrets to social media for real estate. Social media, as I'm sure you are all aware, is a really hot topic amongst real estate agents and brokers. And I've had the pleasure of working with Keller Williams as a MAPS instructor since 2017. So last year, we did about 6 different social media for real estate programs. We're actually getting ready to kick off our newest program for 2018 next week, which I'll let you know about here in just a moment. But a little bit about myself before we get started. For those of you that are following along right now and you have your phone on you, if you want to go ahead and hit me up on Twitter or on Instagram, you can find me at CarlosGil83. I've got 10 plus years of corporate social media marketing experience. I've worked with some really large brands, including Winn-Dixie and Save-A-Lot and LinkedIn, where I've had the fortune and honor of being a head of social media. So my background that I bring to all of you is from the corporate side of social media, which on the corporate side goes really deep into strategy, content, community management, engagement. And after working with hundreds of agents last year through our social media for real estate agents MAPS program, I've really had an opportunity to get to know from all of you and your peers what it is that you're looking to get out of social media. And we've built an amazing program that I'm really excited to let you know more about. In addition to my 10 plus years of corporate social media experience, I'm also an award-winning Snapchat storyteller and influencer. So I've spent many years now as a content creator as well. A lot of my content that you'll find floating out there on social media, including YouTube, is much more business-related content. I do some occasional vlogs as well, and then I'm also an international keynote speaker. So what you're going to get with me as a coach is someone that has that well-rounded pedigree from the corporate side, but yet I'm also a practitioner. I'm constantly learning, constantly keeping up on new trends, and then teaching others as well. Now, we're getting ready to start a new program next Monday, April 9th. It's called the 30-Day Guide to Sell More Homes Online. And the program consists of 4 weekly 1-hour webinars plus Q&A. We meet every Monday at this time. So I highly encourage you to sign up for it, whether you are just getting started in social media, whether you're just getting started in real estate, or if you've been doing real estate or already using social media in your business. I can assure you that this program is really going to help take you through all the steps of the social selling process. Once again, we meet every single Monday, starting next Monday, April 9th. All of the webinars are recorded and available for playback. It is a one-time registration fee of $197, and then you see right there on the screen in front of you where you can go to sign up. So be sure at the end of today's presentation, which is going to touch on some of the key points that are in this program, make sure that you go and you sign up for it. Now, the course objective, and even what I'm going to share with you today, which is really going to be around the content marketing side of social media, the objective of this 4-week course is to help agents grow their leads pipeline and close more homes by developing an online marketing strategy comprised of the most effective strategies for social media, email marketing, and customer relationship management, also known as social selling. So just having a presence on social media, just pushing out content, is not going to go ahead and help you overnight drive all this business and keep your pipeline full. Let's face it, referrals are a big part of your business. And in order for you to go ahead and be effective in social media, you have to put yourself out there. You have to become known. You have to build relationships. This is a process which is referred to as social selling. It's really using social media to grow your brand and form key relationships. And then speaking of keys, a key part of online marketing that often gets overlooked is email marketing. You look at today what's happening with Facebook, and data is a big concern. The reason why Facebook has been able to build this billion-dollar empire is because they have access to data which you're using to advertise. And guess what? You can do the same exact thing. If you're taking your social media followers and driving them back to your website and getting them to subscribe to your email newsletter, then now you own their data. Now you own their email address, essentially, that you can go ahead and market to them both through social media as well as through your own media channels. Now, here's what you will expect to learn over the 4 weeks of our program. And that starts with building a winning personal brand and how to be found online by prospective clients. Personal branding is really the name of the game. We did a webinar last week. So for those of you that were on there, this might sound a little repetitive, but it could be a refresher. And for those of you that weren't on, here's what I always say about personal branding. People do business with who they relate and who they feel comfortable doing business with. So if you're not relatable, meaning if you don't have a presence on social media, meaning you're not really focusing on growing your personal brand, then you're really limiting the opportunities that you might potentially have. And creating that relatability isn't necessarily talking about real estate. It's talking about what you do on a personal level. For example, I enjoy sports and I enjoy going out to eat. Who doesn't, right? So I've seen some of the most successful agents out there that they are, for example, a pseudo fashion blogger. And every time they have a listing, they'll take a photo in a penthouse in New York, or they'll go ahead and take a photo of them like in a nice business suit, and it'll be inside one of their listings. And they use kind of their own personal brand as a persona to then promote what their product is. And I often say that, especially within real estate, you are the product, not your listing. Your listing is very short term. It's temporary. It's something that hopefully once you get a listing, you're going to go ahead and sell that listing within 1 to 2 weeks. If you are a buyer's agent, hopefully you're going to help your buyers find a home, ideally within 1 to 2 weeks as well. So you essentially become the product, and what better way than to promote who you are as a product than through your personal brand. We also talk a lot in the course about creating engaging content that converts to qualified leads. And I don't want to spill the beans too much because we're going to talk about content over the next 15 minutes or so. Also, developing a social strategy which helps you build key relationships to keep a referral pipeline full year round. Think about who's referring you business right now as an agent or as a broker even. Who is it? It's mortgage loan officers. It's insurance agents. It's people in your own community that have key relationships, or they're very well connected themselves. So guess what? Using social media, you can easily identify these folks. You can build relationships with these individuals as well. And then also through social media, you can go ahead and you can reach people through Facebook ads. So we do an entire module which goes really deep into helping you understand how to use Facebook ads, how to use live video, which we're going to scratch the surface on here today, how to really have a strategy for every single social media channel, because the reality is that none of these social networks operate in the same manner. They're all independent. There's no linear path on social media. You can't just do the same thing on Instagram that's going to, for example, work on LinkedIn. It's impossible. So you have to have a strategy for each social network. And I recognize that this takes time. But one thing I try to help agents really understand is how to save time by doing things like downloading the apps directly on your phone, which sounds, I know, very basic. But a lot of agents still use their desktop or they use their laptop. And there's a lot that you can do today from an iPhone or from a smartphone or from an iPad. And then last, I'd say, is helping you become the go-to real estate agent in your city or town. That's probably, up there with personal branding is the number one objective of the course, is how can you become the person that anytime someone thinks about real estate, any single time someone goes on Facebook and they say, hey, I'm looking for a home, they immediately think of you as the agent in mind. And guess what? That then results into you being tagged in a post, how to identify that, or you being messaged. My mom and dad are real estate brokers. I've grown up since the 80s in and around the real estate business, and I've been able to personally help my parents really grow their business over the years using social media. And before it was social media, it was more of just traditional online marketing, online display ads, email marketing. And I can tell you that what social media is a link between you and your customers. It's not the end all be all. It's not rocket science either, but there is a science to it. So that's one of the things that we do touch on quite a bit is this flow that you see in front of you. This is what I like to call the 4 quadrants of a social media strategy. And this right here is something that I came up with many years ago when I was running social media for Winn-Dixie. This is back in 2012 when I went to go work for Winn-Dixie, and they had 0 social media presence. And this is kind of like the flow chart, if you will, to help executives understand how social media works. Now, there's little modifications I made to it over the years because in a corporate environment, you don't have a personal brand, it's the corporate brand. But in this case, each one of you right now that's watching and listening to this, you are a brand within a broader brand, which is your broker, and your broker falls within the Keller Williams umbrella. So you as an individual are a business, and that's your personal brand. Now, your personal brand is one aspect of social media that you really need to focus on growing. But then how do you do that? There's content marketing. And I'm going to share with you here in just a moment some different examples of what makes up social media content. But it's not just social media content that's going to get you known and create visibility. It's also engaging consistently, because let's face it, most people go online not to be sold to, but they go online to engage with others out there, such as their friends, their neighbors, their relatives, etc. And then the last piece, which is probably perhaps the most critical aspect, and even my colleagues that work in marketing overlook this all the time, is measurement. How are you going to know that you're successful if you're not actually measuring your results, if you don't have KPIs established? I'll be the first person to say to you very bluntly that social media can be a big waste of time if you're not doing simple things like tracking every single click, what's happening, using tracking URLs, which means every single time you post on Facebook, you should be able to see how many people went back to your website. And from those people who went to your website, who converted into a warm lead or a prospect or a showing, for example, who converted into an actual sale. Some of the most successful agents I've seen and I've personally worked with over the last year or two, they have very clear-cut goals, which is they're looking to generate 1 new sale a week from social media. And if that's your objective, then we can build an entire business plan around that. Or their objective is to generate 4 new warm leads per week. And if you figure out those 4 warm leads, perhaps one of them will close, and you have 52 new sales a year. So when you start thinking about today, what your average commissions are, multiply that by an additional 52, because you're going to hopefully generate 52 new sales using social media. All of a sudden now you say, wow, social media can be very profitable for me if I really immerse myself in using these mediums. So you see kind of the breakdown there. It starts with your personal brand. You've got content, which is what people see. You engage consistently with others, and then you measure the results and you establish KPIs that you can go ahead and compare your activity versus the outcome. And then once again, to reiterate, this chart that you see in front of you, the 4 quadrants of a social media strategy, each week in the 4 weeks in our lesson, we do a deep dive into every one of these. So last week, we talked about personal branding. Today, we're going to talk about content. And why does social media content matter? First of all, content is what people see, it's what they read, and it's what they feel when they come across your personal or corporate brand online. So right now, if you look at Keller Williams on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, there's a theme, right? There is a voice, there's a persona for the brand, there's content that you can interact and you can share. Same thing holds true for agents. Now, what I see most agents do on social, and I'm not a big fan of this, is they just go really heavy with listings. What did I say before a few minutes ago when we started this? Your listings are a temporary asset, right? You, however, are the brand. So I personally want to see more of the person, no pun intended. I want to see more of your personal brand. What I often recommend to agents is, let's look at a platform like Instagram, where when you go on someone's Instagram feed, you see 6 photos. Think of in between every 6 photos, you post 5 photos that are unrelated to what you do professionally. and it's more related to who you are as a person. But then every 6th photo, you post a photo of a listing or of a house or of a condo, whatever it might be. Start mixing up your content so people aren't just seeing professional content in regards to your business. And I know what you might be saying. Well, geez, Carlos, like, I'm in business to sell homes. I'm a real estate agent. I'm a real estate broker. Why wouldn't I just post pictures of listings? Well, let's think about it. If I personally am not in the market for a home, then why would I want to follow your brand if all you're doing is hitting me up over the head selling me product? It's like a car salesman that's just trying to push cars, but if I'm not in the market, then why am I going to be inclined to follow him or her? Same thing applies with real estate. So content is like the basis of everything you do here, because if people constantly are seeing and reading that you are just pushing your listings, which they might not be interested in purchasing, then how are they going to feel? They're going to feel like you're just coming across as salesy. However, content marketing is, by definition, the tactic of driving awareness and interest to your brand based on what you post and when. So once again, some of the most successful agents that I see have built these brands around themselves and not their company or not their employer and not even the product that they sell. They've built a brand around them. There's an agent that I'm connected to that's in New York City that he sells luxurious $1 million plus condominiums, and from the majority of his posts have really good music in them. He's a very well dressed, fit guy. That's you could probably think that if he wasn't in real estate, he'd be a model or a fashion blogger. And again, that's become his brand. It's called Dex in the City. I encourage you to check it out. So where I'm going with this is, however you drive awareness for your brand and you drive interest in your brand, it's going to be centered around the content that you post. Now, there's other agents that I see that do a really good job of posting information in regards to the industry. So let's think of it. Most people on social media, I would have to imagine that probably 90% or so are not going on Facebook or on social media with the intention of looking for a home or the intention of looking for you. However, education is great. So I often will stop what I'm doing if I'm on Facebook, for example, and I see a Forbes article that someone shared about top 25 cities for young professionals, because I'm a young professional, or top 25 best cities for real estate. There's a lot of content out there that you can find on Keller Williams' website, on the blog section. If you just go on Google right now and type in real estate, you can find articles galore. Realtor.com, Zillow, all these guys have blog content that you can really share as thought leadership to really help position you as a leader in your space. And I feel that your content marketing strategy should be, first of all, planned out by channel. So the way that content appears on every channel is different, but it should also contain a mix of various forms of content. And what I mean by various forms is not just listings, not just personal content, but content that's in regards to your industry. Like I said before, articles that help, prospective buyers with understanding how to obtain financing. I think that's really hot. You're trying to connect people to homes, but also teach them how to invest, how to buy, how to even sell, when's the best time to sell, where are the top markets. If you're in a really hot market, I've become really good friends with an agent for Keller Williams named Cameron Manning, who's up in Vancouver. And I met with Cameron personally. We had lunch around family reunion, and he was telling me that his brokerage is doing classes essentially for potential investors, which I think is great. That's content right there that you can record and you can repurpose 10 ways to Sunday online. And then, the last bullet point there I have before I move on is content is what will help you grow your personal brand and drive new leads. So this isn't something that happens overnight, just in full disclosure. You have to consistently over time post, and the more you post, it took me literally probably a couple months of seeing Cameron Manning post on Instagram the workshops that he was doing before I really stopped and said, like, hey dude, like, are you doing workshops for agents or are you doing them for potential buyers? And he said, I'm actually doing for both, for potential investors and for agents, also teaching them about how to invest in real estate in Vancouver. So take like the market that you're in and what makes your market sexy, what makes it appealing. Think about that and then create content. It doesn't even need to be about real estate. It can just be about what's happening in your city or your town. Now, in front of you, I have listed different types of content. All of these types of content and tactics offer you the ability to reach potential clients across a variety of mediums. That's going to vary. So Photos and videos and blogs and articles is a given. Like you can repurpose photos and videos on virtually every social network today, Instagram included, Snapchat included. Articles and blogs becomes a little trickier because you can't post a blog or an article on Snapchat or on Instagram, but you can obviously use that as content on your Facebook page. You can use that as content on Twitter, on LinkedIn even. I'm a big fan personally of conversational and text-based posts that are very short. So try this next time you go on Facebook, whether it's on your profile or on your page. I want to say it's like 140 or 160 character limit. If you keep a post really short on Facebook, the text is going to stay really big. It's not going to minimize it. So when you're scrolling through the newsfeed, your posts will stand out. That's kind of a growth hack that I've discovered that works really well. I also will ask I'll put posts and phrase them in the form of a question. They're open-ended, which is something that I recommend that you do as well. Go on your Facebook and ask, who do you know that's in the market for a new home? When was the last time that you purchased a home? Things like this that get people talking really are beneficial to, in a way, gamify the algorithms nowadays. Then some outside the box ways that you can market your business are through audio podcasting. I went on iTunes and I typed in real estate, and there isn't a lot of podcasts in regards to real estate, which guess what? That actually benefits all of you out there because there's very little saturation. I think anytime that the market becomes overly saturated with content is when you start facing the challenge of not getting views and not getting clicks. So really think about starting like an audio podcast. You can use a platform. There's an app called Anchor that you can, from your iPhone, record 5-minute podcasts. So imagine like if there's something really hot that's happening in the real estate industry, you going on Anchor, you can record this short podcast that's 5 minutes or less. You can publish that out to iTunes. You can push it out to your Twitter or on your Facebook. Again, it's like an outside the box way of doing marketing. Then there's Facebook ads. Facebook ads is something that every single realtor should be using nowadays, even if you have a small budget between $300 to $500 a month. But that's also content because it's what I say before is content. It's what people see. It's what they feel. It's what they read. Then there's email marketing. That's content too. Then there's stories. I'm going to share with you some examples here in a moment of what makes for some really good stories. There's live video. I'm going to share with you some examples of that too. And then finally, messenger chatbots. Now, where do you go to find content? Think of this as like the cheat sheet for all things content marketing. First of all, open houses are great for a Facebook Live. It goes without saying. If you are at an open house, you should absolutely be doing a Facebook Live. You should do it before to kind of prep it, and then you should maybe even do it during the open house itself. Facebook Live tour can be as simple, or a Facebook Live of an open house can be as simple as just doing a tour of all the rooms, the outside of the home. I'm going to share with you some best practices here in the next slide for doing a Facebook Live. Then Keller Williams blog. If you go to blog.kw.com, I'm not sure if any of you have ever been to the Keller Williams blog, but there's so much good content on there. There's content in regards to the industry. There's content from fellow agents that they've authored. There's some really, really good content on there that also really positions Keller Williams as one of the best companies, if not the best company in the industry to work for and do business with. So think about like any time that Keller Williams has been recognized for an award, or if there's any content in regards to events like family reunion or mega camp or anything that Keller Williams is doing in the community. This is content that you really want to spotlight, even if you aren't necessarily in Austin or in the community that article was authored, because once again, it positions the company that you work for in the best light possible. And that's something that really reflects well on you as an agent, especially as you're trying to drive new business. Snapchat and Instagram stories is a good place to create content. So as you're out in the field, you can create content even on a daily basis. You can do Q&As through Instagram stories and Snapchat. Then your own inventory of homes for sale or rent. Think of the inventory that you have right now for listings. You can create content around these listings. You can use your iPhone. You can invest in purchasing, an affordable DSLR camera or point and click camera, and you can create content just with your inventory. Also, testimonials and reviews left by past clients on your Facebook page or in email or on your website. I'll give you an example. If you go to my website right now, which is carlosgil.biz, I do public speaking. And if you click on the speaking tab, you'll actually see testimonials on there. That's content itself. So anytime people have left you testimonials or reviews, you can take that content, you can take that review, you can go to a platform known as Canva, and you can create an image with that review. And then guess what? You can tweet that out. You can put it on LinkedIn. You can put it on Facebook. And then last, if you, for lack of a better term, are short on content to post, you can set up a Google alert for real estate, and then you will get notified through your email on all types of real estate posts which go live through Google, and then you can kind of pick and choose what you want to share. So moving forward, let's talk about Facebook Live. Here are some tools I recommend that you absolutely use. Most Facebook Lives I see are very poorly produced. There's poor lighting, poor audio, the quality is really bad. So a few things I recommend. Go on Amazon, get yourself what's known as a rig. There's I want to say it's like $150 is what I paid for mine. It's basically like a device that you slip your iPhone into. And now with two hands, you can hold your phone through this rig, and on that rig you can add a microphone. So Rode, RODE, makes a microphone specifically for cell phones. It's like an external mic. And then get a light kit. I want to say like all in, I probably paid like $250 or $300 for my portable kit, and that's something I use when I'm at conferences myself. When I'm out at events, I use it. And iPhones nowadays, I'm an iPhone user, so I'm not sure about Android. I would imagine Android's probably just as good, but iPhones nowadays, the newer ones have 4K quality cameras, 1080p, even for the older ones. So you really don't need to invest in fancy equipment. You can use your iPhone to do a really good Facebook Live, but make sure that you have good audio and good lighting. And then the key to a Facebook Live is go live right away. A big critical mistake that I see a lot of agents make is they go live and then they wait for people to jump on to start talking. So then what happens is in the replay, you basically have like a 30 to 60-second delay where all you're watching is someone's face, or you're watching them get set up, and then they're greeting people as they come. Literally, when you hit that go live button and it's 3, 2, 1, go, you're live. You need to start with like, hey everyone, today I'm at this open house at this address, and boom, you just start with your Facebook Live. The other thing is keep your photo, or your live, I should say, horizontal. A lot of people do vertical because they're using their phone. If you go horizontal, Facebook now will convert your video over to horizontal or landscape video, so you'll actually be able to see more of the frame itself. Whereas on the Facebook desktop, if you're not using a mobile device, the vertical video does get cropped. And then promote your live tour ahead of time as an event. I'll share with you an example here. On the left-hand side, you see Simply Florida Real Estate, which is a Keller Williams broker in Florida. This is a graphic that they have. Facebook Live, let's talk vacation homes. They've got the date, Tuesday, May 24th at 12:30 p.m. They've got the URL of their Facebook page. Boom. Like, that is, in my opinion, a really good representation of how you should properly schedule your Facebook Lives in advance. And then you see on the right-hand side, I think this is just a generic Facebook page showing here how you can do this, but you see there, open house this Friday. There's the address of the home. Get the video walkthrough plus e-brochure here. Then there's a link that takes you. There's the features of the home. And then once again, it promotes the video walkthrough and e-brochure. So even if you don't do a live video, you could always record a video tour on your phone using the same methodology. And then you can repurpose that content. You can upload that content to YouTube. You can put it on your website. You can put it on Twitter. There's so many ways that today you can do video tours specifically of your listings without having to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars like before. And then the last example that I'm going to share with you before we keep moving forward and open it up for questions is storytelling. Storytelling is something that's taken off on Snapchat as well as Instagram. You see some different examples here, specifically from Snapchat. You see on the left-hand side a story of what looks to be agents prepping a home. It looks like it might be being restored or renovated. Then you see in the middle there Tudor-style houses. You see a tour of a particular area in Chicago. Then you see an agent that says offer submitted, wish me luck. That's an agent that takes his community or his followers through the day day in and day out of a day in the life of a real estate agent. And then you see on the right-hand side, the real estate CIO, which is a company. He's advertising Mason McDuffie Mortgage. It's a new home lender. He, talks about the mortgage industry, which is connected to real estate. So, storytelling is something that we will talk in great length about, along with creating content in the form of video. But I just want to give you some very real and actionable examples that you can implement right away. And speaking about 5 things that you can do right away, kind of consider this, homework. These are actionable tips that you can implement in your business ASAP. The first, and I already touched on this, is scheduling a Facebook Live from your business page. So you can go onto your Facebook business page, you can schedule an event, and you can schedule that event to be live video. And then if you schedule an event for next week, and it's going to be Facebook Live of, for example, an open house with the address, then now you've got a URL that you can post that URL on Twitter, you can post on LinkedIn, you can even email it out, you can get people excited for that. Next is go live from your next open house or listing, or do a Q&A for prospective buyers. Some agents I see doing live video really, really well are using Facebook Live, not so much for the purpose of showing a listing or open house, but it is to do Q&As, is to provide really thought leadership. Next is sign up for Buffer or Hootsuite if you really want to save time scheduling posts. These are the tools that I personally use to schedule content. Next, I mentioned Keller Williams blog. You can go to blog.kw.com to find and schedule content to share. And then last, start a Facebook post by asking your social media community, do you know someone in the market for a new home? Now, next steps before we open it up for Q&A is we do have a private Facebook mastermind group. It's free to join. I advise you to go to facebook.com/groups/social media realtors. This is a really active group, a lot of good networking in there. And then this is also where I go to share tips, but also engage on a weekly basis with agents. Also, we talked about personal branding last week, but I want to reiterate. Go on LinkedIn today and update your profile with the basics. Everything from a profile photo, a cover photo, update your summary, update your headline, and also be sure to find me on there, Carlos Gil, and connect with me. And then pick one social network, whether it's Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat as your home base. Hit me up on there, and I'm more than happy to do an assessment or a review for you. I'll look at your content, and I'll give you some tips and advice as well. And then before we open up to Q&A, once again, I want to encourage you to sign up for the 30-day guide to sell more homes online. Hopefully, you've gotten a lot of value out of the last 30 minutes. And, the intent is obviously to continue to teach you more, to help you be much more well-rounded in how you use social media, whether you're just getting started or whether you've been in the business for a long time, but really looking to go ahead and learn how to be much more effective in marketing online. So our next course launches next Monday, April 9th at 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific, for those of you that are on the West Coast like me. It is 4 weekly 1-hour webinars plus 30 minutes more or less of Q&A. So it's about 90 minutes a week for 4 weeks. All webinars are recorded and available for playback. And then once again, you're looking at a $197 one-time investment. And you can see the link there below to sign up. So with that, I want to say thank you for joining me today. And I want to turn it back over to Paige for any questions that the audience might have. All right, I will take a look in here myself. Can this course information be applied to team business accounts for social media? Yeah, absolutely. So Brittany, if you're still there watching, much of this course is applicable to agents, obviously, but at the same time, you can go ahead and apply a lot of what I cover for brokers. We have a lot of office managers that do sign up and take the course. So there is, a good part of this that is, applicable for brokers and office managers as well. Question here from Walt Hale. How do you leverage LinkedIn differently versus Facebook or Instagram? Great question. LinkedIn is very much a business social network, whereas people primarily use Instagram and Facebook for personal. So I'd say, especially with a platform like Instagram, which is a much younger audience, Focus on content being much more, photos and videos that stand out. Facebook, more conversational, and LinkedIn, more purpose-driven, meaning you're going to use LinkedIn more of as a business directory to connect with others. Jennifer Quarrel says, how do I choose content that is meaningful but not too personal? I'm a private person who doesn't want to show my whereabouts or pictures of my children for the sake of making more posts that aren't work-related. Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm actually an introvert and a very private person also, but you would never know by looking at my social media accounts just because I have a presence all over the place. But my content is, in fact, purpose-driven. And you mentioned the word meaningful before. So same rules apply for your content. Make sure that it aligns with who you are as a professional. So you don't necessarily need to have content of your family, of your kids. You don't need to necessarily always document what you do or where you're at. But if it's going to be a mix of community content and personal content, then share what you do for fun in the community. Bring it back to your community. Nicole here says, how do we build our audience on Snapchat? Yeah, great question, Nicole. Build your audience by sharing your Snap code everywhere. Put your Snap code in your email newsletter, put it on your website, tweet it out, put it on your Facebook. You really have to cross-promote your content also. So when you have content to share that's on Snap, maybe take like one snap and put a preview, tweet it out, put it on Facebook. You definitely have to do a good amount of cross-promotion from your other social networks in order to promote your Snapchat. All right. There's one other person in my office that would like to do this, and we would like to do this together. Can we pay once and listen together? I'm not sure what the rules are, Dana, in regards to that, but I will go ahead and get with the team over at Maps and get back to you. All right, please show the slide with 5 things to do, a couple people asked. All right, here we go. All right, and we'll take maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Do you discuss using Facebook personal page versus business page? Absolutely. We discuss this quite a bit. One of the questions that I get asked the most by agents, believe it or not, is should I have a business page or a personal page? And my answer is always have both. However, make sure, like anything else that you do, that you have a strategy because the people that are going to ultimately follow and engage with you on your personal page are going to be different than the people that engage and follow you on your business page. And to answer your question a little bit deeper, Nathan, yes, I actually go quite a bit in detail and in depth into the advantages for both and how you can be more effective with using both. All right, I'm going to go to this slide here because there was a question in regards to, can you show the slide that has the Facebook group URL? And then I will answer one more question before we wrap up. And this comes from Julia Smith. Will you be covering how to create promoted Facebook and Instagram posts? Absolutely. There is a module which goes deep into how to use Facebook and Instagram ads. And once again, here is the URL to sign up. I'll go ahead and keep this on the screen for another 10 to 15 seconds or so. It's mapscoaching.kw.com/social-media-real-estate-agents. I can assure you that this is probably the best deal that you're going to get online for a comprehensive social media marketing course for real estate. All right, if anyone has any other questions, be sure to email me. My email is carlos@gilmedia.co. You can also join the Facebook group. Once again, it's social media for real estate agents. And hopefully we get to see each other again starting next Monday. So thank you so much for your time, everyone. Have a great week.